Hey everybody, it's Mr. Walsh, and today we're going to be talking about housing electrons, and we're going to talk about it in terms of this special kind of hotel here. Okay, so what I have is the handout that you're going to get or did get in class, and and so that's why I'm flipping pages and stuff. Okay, but let's take this and let's see what kind of special hotel this is. This special hotel has some rules, okay? And the rules are that because it's built underground, okay? And so I'm going to show you a blueprint of the hotel or an outline of the hotel in a second. But because it's built underground, we have a bunch of different kinds of rules that we have to follow as opposed to a hotel that's built up in the sky. Because it's built underground, we have to follow some rules so that the fire marshal doesn't get angry at us. Okay, so the most important rule of the hotel is that guests must be in rooms closest to the lobby. Okay, it doesn't matter what floor they're on, but they have to be closest to the lobby. Okay, and so you'll see what I mean by that. And this rule is the most important to the fire marshal. The fire marshal doesn't care about anything else. As long as the guests are closest to the lobby, we can handle the other things. Okay. Now, realize that the rooms are double occupancy, so you can only put 2 people in these rooms. Okay. So you put 2 people in these rooms. Okay. And so the other 2 rules get apply if this one is already set. Okay, so we have to follow this, and then we're going to look at these next 2 rules. So rule number 2 says if the rooms are the same distance from the lobby, you have to put one guest in each of the rooms before you can put 2 in one. Okay, and so they don't pair unless they have to. And then the third rule says that if people are paired in the same room, they have to face in opposite directions. Okay, so let's take a look at how this hotel is kind of laid out. Okay, so look, so we have a lobby here. Okay, this is the lobby right here, and then there's this lake over here. Okay, and so that creates, because the lake is over here, let me put this up a little bit. Okay, so because this lake is over here, that means that the floors are built kind of at an angle. Okay, you can see kind of this, that's the first floor. Okay, and so you can maybe get a sense that if I put this here, they're the same, it's the same height, but it's built on this weird angle, the reason why it's built like, the reason why is the lake, but the point is that it's built underground. So because it's built underground, you don't have to worry as much about building flat or level floors. They can be built on this angle. Okay, so this is the first floor. It got kind of cut off, but on the first floor there's only one kind of room. It's built underground, and the more that we undermine all this stuff, the more likely it is to collapse. So part of the construction is that on the first floor, okay, we can only put one kind of room, and this room is called a studio room. Okay, it's a studio room, and so this studio is on the first floor, and that's it. This lake prevents us building anything over here. We don't want anything to collapse in on itself. Okay, and then we get down here to the second floor, and the second floor has a studio. Okay, but then because it's a little further underground, we can build these set of 3 rooms, which we're going to harken back to the 60s. Okay, and we're going to call them the pads. So there's a pad room, and another pad room. There's 3 pad rooms. Okay, and because we can't draw this in 3 dimensions, just know that each of these rooms are the same distance to the lobby. The lobby is kind of represented by the ground here, okay? And so each of these are the same distance to the lobby, okay? And then, so that's the second floor. You can see how, again, it's built kind of on an angle because of this crazy lake that's over here. Okay, and now the third floor, this is the third floor. It's further underground, so we can have even more room types. So we do have the studio. It's like we have a studio on each floor. And then we have a pad, but then now we have a den. There's these rooms are den rooms. And notice, again, they're not built straight across. They're kind of at an angle. Okay? And so this third floor is kind of crooked. And then the fourth floor here, same thing. We have a studio and a pad. And so we'll talk a little bit about this as we pair people up and put people in the hotel. Okay, but this is kind of the thing. If I had more space down here underneath this, we would have dens, and then if I had more space over here, we would have another type of room. We would have family rooms here on the fourth floor, but we're just going to go to up to here so that we can get the pattern down. Once we get the pattern down, then we can kind of fill anything we want. Okay, so here's what we have, and on each of these things we have the rules. So what you are going to do is you're going to play the hotel concierge, and as the hotel concierge you are going to fill the rooms according to the hotel rules. Okay, and then every night when the hotel is filled, or when the hotel is done taking guests, you're going to write a report. Okay, so you need to fill correctly, and then you need to write a report. That's going to be how this works. Okay? And so we're going to train you. The first night is training. Or the first day is training. So let's come up with the first example. Okay? And again, I'm sorry that this is kind of cut off, but so now we have a basketball team shows up, and we have seven people. Okay? 7 people, and we need to figure out where they are going to fill. Okay, what rooms they're going to occupy. And we don't want to tick off the fire marshal, because we need to make sure we follow the rules. If we tick off the fire marshal, or if we don't fill correctly, the fire marshal is going to get excited. Okay, so if the fire marshal is excited, then bad things happen. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put people. So the first person comes along, and we're going to fill them one at a time. First person comes along, and I think it's pretty obvious that we want to put this person in this room closest to the lobby. And again, we're going to represent the lobby as kind of this ground level that's right here, okay, on the first floor. Okay, and don't forget, these are all studio rooms. Okay, they're kind of lined up here. They don't have to be in real life, but the way that we have it is here. Okay, so now that's this first person. Now the second person comes along, and now there's some choices. Okay, some people would think you would put that person in this room because you don't want to pair them unless you have to, right? This says don't pair them unless you must. But the first rule of the hotel is you put them closest to the lobby. So closest to the lobby, let's see, we have 2 spaces here. So we're going to put them closest to the lobby. So we're going to put them here. We're going to put that second person in this room. But instead of putting that person in this room facing up, they need to face in opposite directions. It's a timing thing, right? So if I take this person and put them facing in an opposite direction, okay, this person can just get up, and if there's a problem, get up and run out. This person has to get up, turn around, and run out. So then it's so that people don't kind of gather up by the door at the same time. Okay, so in the first floor, we're going to put 2 people in. They're going to be up. They're going to be head up and then head down. Okay, so that's 2 people. Now the third person comes the concierge, and you as the concierge, you're going to have to figure out a place to put them. Well, look, the closest to the lobby, right here, right? This is the next closest to the lobby. This guy's way down here, so we're not going to go here. Okay, so that's 3, and then 4, again, choices. We have all sorts of choices to put the fourth person. Here, here, here. But the primary rule of the hotel is they have to go closest to the lobby. It doesn't matter if we have to pair them, okay, whatever. We don't want to get that fire marshal excited. So we're going to put this person in this room upside down. Okay, so that's 4. So now we need to put 3 more people in. We have 3 more people to go. And so now we're going to put them in the next set of rooms closest to the lobby, which I think is pretty obvious that it's here. It's definitely not down here. This is way far away. This is further from the lobby. So now we're going to start here. Now we're going to put a person here. Okay. And now, because each of these are the same distance to the lobby, okay, and remember the ground is kind of representing the lobby, okay, now we can invoke rule number 2, which says don't pair them unless we must. So each of these 3 rooms are the same distance to the lobby, so there's no difference between these rooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 6th person in here, and then I'm going to put the 7th person in here. Okay, and now each of these persons, timing-wise, if there's some sort of disaster, an earthquake or something, okay, each of these people can leave the room super straightforwardly. They don't have to crawl over each other and rely on them facing in opposite directions in order to time them out of the hotel. Okay, so this is how 7 people are arranged in the hotel. Now, what we have to do is we have to file a report for the hotel so the fire marshal knows where people are. So that, okay, so the underground hotel is going to file their report. So here's the way this report's going to look like. It's going to be, we're going to tell them that it's on the first floor in the studio rooms. Okay, so the first floor studio, there was 2 people. Okay, we can abbreviate people PPL if we want. Okay, that's the report. Then we're going to say on the second floor in the studio, there was another 2 people. Okay, so, and we're just writing it the order in which we assigned people into their rooms. And then in the second floor, we have the pad, and we put 3 people in there. Okay, and so this is our report. So we submit that to the fire marshal. Fire marshal says, that's great. Okay. If the fire marshal were to knock on the doors, they would see that the people are arranged the way they wanted to. Everybody's underground and safe. The fire marshal is not excited at all. Okay. Fire marshal is pretty calm, okay, about the underground hotel. Okay. Now, day 2 comes along. And we're ready to, instead of being a trainee, we're going to be probationary. Now, each of these, just so you know, there's more people down here, okay? And so here, there's 14 people, okay? So we're going to do 14 people. Okay? So this is the next day. Now, here's the thing. We already know from the first night that if we're going to take a person, we're going to put them in this room right here. And actually, instead of drawing a stick figure, this is kind of a lot to draw for me. I'm going to draw an arrow. What's the pointy end of an arrow called? Okay, this is called a head. So look, I'm just going to use a half-headed arrow to represent people, just because it's short. I'm lazy, and I don't think the fire marshal is going to care on the map where we put people, or if we represent them by people or by arrows. So I'm going to start using these arrows to make my life a little easier. Okay, so I have one person with their head up, and now I'm going to put the second person in here with their head down. Okay. Now, where does the next person go? And we learned this the first night. They have to go closest to the lobby. Okay, closest to the lobby means we go right here. Okay, that's the 3rd person. And then the 4th person, whoop, goes next to it, pointing down. Okay, now, and this is going to look just like we did the other night, right? Or the first night. 4 people. 4 people are always going to have the same arrangement in the hotel, in the underground hotel, because we don't want the fire marshal to get excited. So if the fire marshal is not excited, then we're doing our job. So now, we have to put the 5th person, 6th person, 7th person, and again, up to 7, this is exactly what we did, and we fill them one room at a time. But now we have more than 7, okay? We have 14 people, okay? So we have 7 more people to put in here, okay? So now where does the next group of people go? Where does the next person go? Does it go here? No, 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 no. We still have to be closest to the lobby. So we're going to put our 8th person in here, and then we're going to do 9. We're going to do 10. So now, up to here, we have 10 people in the hotel. Okay, so we have 4 more people to go. Well, what rooms are closest to the hotel? Okay, so we go here. Okay, that's 11. Where's the 12th person going to go? Same room. Okay, because they have to be closer to the lobby. So now we have 2 more people to go. So now it's going to be similar to what happened on the first night. We're going to put person 13 here. Then person 14 is here. So that is how we arrange 14 people. Now, I am going to try to do the report here. And again, I don't think the fire marshal cares if we do abbreviations. Okay? So instead of saying first floor studio with 2 people, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 1 for the first floor. And now each of these room types conveniently have different first letters. These are studio, these are pads, these are dens. Okay, so look, the studio, I'm going to do a 1S, first floor studio, and how many people are in there? Now, I can't put a big 2, because if I put a big 2 like this, it looks like the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1S, and I'm going to put a little power here. Okay, we technically call that a superscript. So this means first floor studio, 2 people. And now where's the next person? Again, we're going to abbreviate. So second floor in the S, and how many people? 2. And then here, we're going to do second floor pad, how many people? 2, 4, 6. 6. And then we're going to go here. What floor? Third floor studio, and then 2 people. And then the third floor, right? These guys, third floor, pad, 2 people. Okay. Now, the fire marshal is going to go count the number of people we have to make sure. Let's say 2, 4, 10, 12, 14. 14 people. Is that how many people we put in there? Yep. And the fire marshal is also going to make sure that they're arranged correctly so the fire marshal doesn't get excited. Okay, if the fire marshal gets excited, then all of a sudden we're in a bad place. Okay, and so that's why we have these rules. Okay, to keep the fire marshal from getting excited. So let's look at the soccer team. The soccer team now has 22 people. Okay, and if you think you know what you're doing, go ahead, pause the video, put these people in here. Okay, it's hard for me to get everything into the way that it needs to go. So, okay, but here we go. We're going to do this. And so we're going to start. We're going to put 2 people in there. Okay, we're going to put 2 people in there. Again, closest to the lobby, and it's going to be just like the first night and the second night. We always start with the first floor studio and then go to the second floor studio and then the second floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we go to the second floor pad. Okay, so we're at 10. Okay, we've 10 people arranged in the hotel, but now we need 12 more. Okay, so now we're going to go here. We're going to follow the rules. Closest to the lobby. So that's 12. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So that is now 18 people. Now here's the thing that's funny. Now the floor, remember the floor goes like this. Okay. So this is kind of how the floor goes. It's crooked. So this is on the 3rd floor. These are the den rooms. And this is the 4th floor. These are studio rooms. We know that this is studio. Okay. But the rule says to put them as close to the lobby as possible. So if we were to look at this, and I'm going to draw this here, okay? If we were to look at the floor, because that's the part of the hotel that matters, if we were to draw a straight line over here, you're going to see that the floor of the 4th floor studio is slightly closer to the lobby than the 3rd floor den. I mean, it doesn't seem to be much, like maybe a step or two, but that step or two is going to matter to the fire marshal. So we're going to make sure that we follow the rules of the fire marshal. So we have 4 more people to put someplace. Okay, up to this point we have 18. So now we're going to put them closest to the lobby. So that's going to go here and here. So that's 20. And now where do the next 2 people go? They go here. Okay, into the 3rd floor den. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to make our report to the fire marshal. And when we make our report, we're going to abbreviate it. So we're going to start at the top. 1, 1st floor studio with 2 people. 2nd floor studio. Look, I got ahead of myself. I hope the fire marshal doesn't get upset at me. 2nd floor studio, 2 people. 2nd floor pad, 6 people. 2, 4, 6. And then 3rd floor studio, 2 people. 3rd floor pad, 6 people. And now we want to make sure that we write the report in the order that the that the hotel was filled. So where did we go? We didn't go to the 3rd floor den. We went to the 4th floor. So we're going to go to the 4th floor studio, 2 people. Then we went over here to the 3rd floor den, D, with 2 people. Okay? And so that now is the report that we're going to submit to the fire marshal. She's going to love the underground hotel, and she's not going to be excited at all by it. Okay? One of the things that you may want to know is what this has to do with the periodic table. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that report right here. Okay? So there's the report, and here's the periodic table. On the 1st floor, how many people are we able to put on the 1st floor of the hotel? 2. So look, 1, 2. 2 people. Okay? And then on the 2nd floor, how many do we have? On the 2nd floor, we have 8. But it's not split 4 and 4. It's split 2 and 6. So look here on the periodic table. On the 2nd floor, on the second period, we have 2. And then we have a big space. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, look, on the 3rd floor, we have 2, followed by 6 again. And then look what happens. It says we go down to the 4th floor. And then we can do this, put this here. And we're here, 4th floor S2. And then we go to the D block. So the periodic table is separated into the S block here. These are all the studio apartments. The P block here. The P block, the pads. Okay, and there's 6 people that could fit in the pad. And then if you look at the D's, how many den rooms are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 den rooms. And how many people can you put in there? 2 people per room. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the D block. And then down here is the F block, and that's 14. So it's kind of interesting how all of this works out. So this here, the hotel, is really just symbolic of the periodic table. So I wanted to show you how this worked first, so you got an idea of how to fill the hotel, so that then we can go from there to here, so that we can understand how electrons are filled in the elements on the periodic table. Okay, everybody, that's the underground hotel. So have a great day.